All right, well, good afternoon, everybody, and that's about the quietest I've seen a group of house school students in a long time. So thank you for making the trek down here for this very momentous occasion for the city, and thank you all for taking time out of your day. We will have a short ceremony here today to really kick off a project that has been near and dear to so many in the community. I just find myself so fortunate to be here at the moment to celebrate with all of you, and so again, I'm thrilled and thank you for coming to celebrate with us. As many of you know, for over 20 years, this project and a topic of aquatics has been on the minds of residents and on the agendas of our public meetings across the city. And like many of you, I remember some of those discussions as a youth, but also now as an adult. I even wrote then Mayor Virginski a letter back in about 2001 on my comments and thoughts for the pool. It was shortly after Walmart had left downtown and the city was thinking about what they were going to do with that site and that project. So I can remember engaging at a very young age myself, but little did I know that someday I would be the person in his shoes 20 years later breaking ground here today. So again, thank you for the opportunity personally, but also for the community support to make this happen. Without further ado, I want to invite Alderperson Tom Rayom, who has been a part of this project in its various phases and forms over the course of the life of the project, to share a little bit of his perspective and a city council perspective on the history. So Tom, you want to come forward?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I'll start on a personal note with all the kids here from Howe. About 20 years ago it was, or quite some time ago, my wife Mary was at the Mead pool, at the baby pool with a couple of our youngest ones, and met Kate Baziner there, who they'd moved back from Appleton, and in their discussions Kay had asked what there all was here in Rapids as far as the pool, and Mary said that she had just been over with the kids to an aquatic center in Black River Falls, and that talked about that with Kay, and that between them they said, wouldn't that be nice if Rapids could have something like that here someday? And I guess at that point in time, as she came home and we talked about it, I think a seed may have been planted at that time to see what could take place. A few of the people got together. I know at Robinson Park, at the library, a couple meetings were held, discussions, and we thought we were going in the right direction, but at that time there was still a pool that was left at Mead, and so it just never got off the ground. Back in the mid-50s, the east side pool by the river had been built. That closed in the mid-90s. In the mid-80s, there was a big renovation that had been done on the east side pool, and which gave life for about another 10 years or so, 12 years to that. In the early 2000s, discussions continued on about where to go, what to do, and that the Mead pool, having been built in the late 70s, that we thought we could get by with one pool, or many people did for a period of time. The pool was deteriorating fast. It was costing more and more money to keep it in operation, and finally in 2015, I believe it was, the decision was made that to keep pouring money into that pool, that it was actually it was a waste of money. And it was decided to close the pool, which nobody really wanted to do, but it was the best decision to do at that point in time. We had looked at different, way back in the early 2000s, again, we had looked at different sites of what we wanted to do. Again, as I said, we didn't go anywhere with that. And some of those sites included Witter Field, but it was on the other end of the field. It was along on Highway 54 was the site that was looked at. Behind actually the high school on Grove Avenue. There was a water and light land property on Airport and 20th Street that was looked at, and some of those again were like we face on other decisions in the city. People didn't want them in their backyard, that type of thing. In 2016, there was a survey done in the city. It was a mail and phone survey, I believe, and a vast majority of the people wanted to have a swimming pool, that we needed at least one pool. I guess just to back up for that 1 second there a little bit, in 2015 when Mead was closed, not only did Rapids not have a pool left out of the two we had, but for an area within probably 15 miles or so up and down the river from Buren to Nakusa, at one point in time we had 5 swimming pools. And so did not just Rapids have lose their 2, but in total there was 5 pools in the area, in a short area, that were lost. And so more effort, more thought were put into this, and we contacted consulting firms and that with MSA professionals and water technologies. We got together. We've had many meetings, of which I was able to attend almost all, I think it was, except the technical ones, I think, as I told people when they were meeting about the pumps and that type of how big that stuff. That wasn't my bailiwick. That I just listened to what they had to say and tried to understand what that all was when they did tell me. And so we've come down to that actually within this facility we're looking at. The council met, kept talking about it. I think for the most part, most of the council was on board to start with, that we could go from there, and to try to convince the others. We ended up where there was a majority of the people, of the council members, that did go along with it. And it was decided on Witter Field here. We're close to the downtown, close to the river, that we were trying to revitalize with what we're doing downtown. The historic Witter Field with the old ballpark that's been here since the 40s and that, and with the minor league teams that we had way back then, which even before my time. So as this facility does get built, besides the park-like setting, which we're trying to make this to be a family-friendly facility, and that when all is said and done, there's going to be a tot pool, a recreational pool, water slides, and all the amenities that we can afford at this point in time. It's an expensive proposition. We have a Legacy Foundation coming on board with us. Hopefully others will come on board. We've had numerous hundreds of people that have put in small amounts of money that they could. I think kids with their piggy banks and that even put in money. So we're going to make this facility the best we can. I know we're going to. One goal that I have, and I think all of us do at City Hall, is we want this to be a family-friendly facility, and that one that all families can afford to partake in, that nobody's going to be left out, so that everybody's going to be able to come here. And hopefully that all these kids that are back here and from other schools in town and in the surrounding areas can come and enjoy in the summertime. The weather will be nicer, I promise that. That's for sure. You're not going to get a suntan much today anyway. I guess one point, and then I'll quit here before I ramble on too long, is that it became a goal as we discussed this of what we really wanted this to be. And having lost, as I mentioned, the 5 pools just in this area along the river, other communities are losing their pools and that, and I think have somewhat been waiting to see what Rapids would do. And I think what we've accomplished with what's going to take place here is that this is going to be what we're hoping for, a regional facility, that the entire surrounding area, and not just from Nakusa to Buren and Grand Rapids and that, but even farther away, that people will come and see what we have here, and to spread the word, and they will return hopefully themselves, or when they tell other people, that those people will come to see what we have here, because there's also going to be times, I think, when this facility's open, that we're probably going to have ball games, so people will be able to partake in, I guess, all kinds of things besides the park facility here with the aquatics, the park setting that it's going to be in itself. Also, there'll be ice skating and that new tennis courts. So this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful facility. It is expensive. Hopefully everybody can come out and use it. And like I said, we're going to make it affordable for all. Thank you.
If only you got paid by the meetings you attended as opposed to your year of service or the time on the council, I think you might have been better off. So thanks, Tom, for those comments. 2 years ago, we introduced the designs and plans for this facility at the Performing Arts Center at Lincoln High School, and I'm sure many of you were there or watched the videos and have seen the designs since then. And as Tom had stated, it really is about conditions of readiness. You've got to have the right place and the right time for something like this to come to fruition. But from the beginning, central to the presentation then and to the planning processes has been youth involvement. And we know that it's not only these guys behind us, it's also the current generation of high school students that are today's high school students, but tomorrow's leaders. And so next up, I'd like to invite the Mayor's Youth Council President, Jorian Greenwood, to say a few words on the Youth Council's involvement and her outlook. Thanks, Jorian.
Thank you, Mayor. So I don't have the 20-year history that Tom does, but I can speak through the 4 years of high school that I had in this project. So it all started after the Mead Pool closed, and our youth council decided that we really needed a pool in the community. And so we created a survey and sent it out to the middle school, high school, and elementary school, I believe. And we got feedback, and there was like a resounding yes for let's go on with the pool, and we got input on what amenities they would like to see. So all of those amenities that we got in the survey are incorporated in the design. And then we went forward with fundraising. So we did 50-50 raffles at the Rafters games, and we did Miracle Minutes at the presentations, and then we went one-on-one with donors. So we were really happy with all of the support that we got from them, and we are excited to be here today and breaking ground, and it's really cool to see our vision come to life. And I'm excited to see where it goes and to come back from college next year and really see the development. So on behalf of the Mayor's Youth Council and myself, thank you for coming. And we'd like to stress that this isn't just an accomplishment for the Youth Council, but for the whole community. And we are excited to see how it brings all of us together and further develops Wisconsin Rapids. So thank you.
And as we send our youth council off, their class off to do great things in their lives, we also want to ensure, as we all do, and the work that we do is about when they're ready to grow roots and potentially raise a family, that they consider Wisconsin Rapids just as competitive alongside other communities in which they may want to start a business or raise a family. So next I want to invite some brief comments from the CVB and the Chamber of Commerce, if they could come forward together and say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for having us here today. I know the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce is really about promoting networking and empowering the people and community and the business. So this development is just another tag on those pillars that we support. This quality of life piece makes it easy to promote the community as someplace that's growing, that you want to make your home. And when people make it their home, they engage in all the aspects of the community and engage those local businesses to keep them here. So we're very excited, and I know our organization is happy to be a part of this.
Hello. On behalf of the Convention and Visitors Bureau for Wisconsin Rapids, we're very excited about the Aquatics and Recreation Center, not only for the visitors that it will bring, and it will bring regional visitors, but because once they come, then they might stay a little longer because it's a cool place to be. And then they might spend some money in our community, and then they might want to stay here. Studies show that quality of life, like Angel mentioned, is important to families, and it brings people to come and stay and live in communities. So we're very excited about the growth growth and about the little economic engine that is the Aquatics and Recreation Center. Thank you.
All right. So just a couple of comments, I guess, about the facility itself. This just over $11 million facility with all its amenities that Tom outlined will be available and used year-round. That was something that we know in this climate. We can't just make an $11 million investment and expect it to get return all, outside of or just at the summer months. We've got to make sure it has the amenities and features that a year-round facility can offer. So not only swim programming and recreation, from picnics and family gatherings and parties, or just spending a relaxing day at the pool, but also in the wintertime, that this facility will be able to, visitors to the facility will be able to enjoy recreational ice skating as well as lowboard hockey. The tennis courts will be reconstructed at the northeast end, and the skate park, also a very youth-led, community-led project from a while ago, will also remain in place. And suffice to say that city residents will enjoy this facility, this affordable facility year-round, both with season or daily pool passes or just coming to the park amenities itself. And I've said all along, this is not just a pool with park-like amenities. It's much more than that. It's a reinvestment in ourselves and in our community. As has been said, when we reinvest, we signal a strong message to both residents and to visitors that we have a bright future. And competing as a city in a rural, smaller city is not an easy task, and we must continue to make these investments that prove to others that, just like the city's investment, their investment of their resources, whether in the business community or as residents, are just as important in our community. So today, beautiful River City, Wisconsin Rapids continues to be on a path of a more attractive, fun, and exciting future. So before we conclude, just want to give a note to the over 700 grassroots donations that were a formative part of this project through informational brat fries and root beer float sales. And just as significant, a leading gift of a $3 million gift from the Legacy Foundation. We want to thank them. Now, important to note, their gift is a matching gift, which means the project still needs community support. We've set a $3 million fundraising goal over the next year, and there's a number of naming opportunities that still exist throughout the facility, from the tennis courts to park shelters to the playground and a reservable multi-purpose community room. And of course, the pool features themselves. So we'll hope that you and others, if you haven't made a contribution, will consider a gift to the project. And as you can see, with the removal of the track, that we've been preparing for construction already, and real construction is set to begin. Myron, folks, when do we expect to mobilize people on site? 2 weeks. So watch for a lot of activity between now and then before we get started. And they also tell us, and we're going to hold them to it, that this pool and this facility will be open for the start of the summer swim season in 2020 next year. It's a big year for the city. It's the 100th year, as we know, Wisconsin Rapids, and there's a number of new facilities that we're going to celebrate across the city and big construction projects all over town. So in conclusion, I'd like to start by thanking our city staff. I want them to raise their hands and be acknowledged for the time and the meetings that they spent. As you can imagine, this was a lift on top of their day-to-day responsibilities, right? There wasn't just magically a bunch of extra time that fell into people's laps to commit to this project through over a year of design. But second, to express and reiterate the gratitude for city councils, both past and present, for their contributions, because it did take a lift of their support over a lot of debate and a lot of time. And third, to our early financial supporters and those yet to come forward. And lastly, to the grassroots community supporters. And I look around just here today, many of you who wrote letters to the city council, maybe made phone calls, encouraged folks, or made a contribution yourself, because you ensured that this project wouldn't just be a hope for the city of Wisconsin Rapids, but that it would become a reality. And now let's turn some dirt. So thanks for being here, and if you want to be a part of the shovel, we're going to do a number of waves to make sure we can accommodate everyone. So thank you again. All right, kids. So first, if we could have the city council members and past city council members come up to the front, and we're going to do the first wave of those folks, and then the next wave. We've got donors, if anyone has made a contribution to the project or wants to just be involved. City staff as well. So if we could have council members, city staff, and then donors. Anybody here, city staff, come forward. We're going to do this quickly. Thank you.
Ready? All right. In 3, 2, 1. Go.
That would be great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
All right, and then community supporters, you want to come forward as well. Anybody that's anybody wants to be included in the photo and has made a contribution to the project, we'd like to have you in the photos. So, yeah, don't be shy. This is your moment. This is your photo op. You don't pass a good photo op up.
I'll go. Wait. I want to see if they have enough people. Okay. All right.
Okay. Oh, come on, that was fun. No, thank you. Great. Not even funny. I'm not the one that makes the contract. I don't care what you guys do. Oh, but. Jesse, I'm gonna give him a 3, 2, 1. I wish it was. I'm just passing the cards.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Did you sink into the sand?
I didn't. Well, I was gonna say I stand on the balls of my feet anyway, so yeah, so I don't actually really use my feelings. Oh,